Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Cooler Master 932 case. This full tower ATX case is currently only available in a black color and is constructed from steel except for a few plastic parts. At the top there's a massive 230mm exhaust fan. If preferred, this fan can be removed and up to 3 120mm fans can be installed. Thankfully, this panel can be removed for easy access for removing or replacing the fans or radiator. There's a very convenient tray at the top for an MP3 player, camera, etc. And it has a rubber lining which can be removed. Here's a fill port for an optional water cooling system's reservoir. The power and reset buttons are located at the top, which is ideal when the case is placed on the floor. And there are 4 USB ports, a FireWire port, an external serial ATA port, a microphone jack, headphone jack, as well as a hard drive activity LED and power LED. At the front there are 6 5¼ drive bays without the use of an exposed 3.5-inch drive bay, and each drive bay cover is ventilated. There's a red LED 230mm intake fan at the bottom, but oddly enough there are no dust filters on the drive bay covers or the intake fan. This front section can also be very easily removed. And note that the 230mm fan can be removed if required and replaced with a 120mm fan. The 5¼ to 3.5-inch drive bay adapter comes pre-installed and it's located in the last 5¼ drive bay. This adapter can be removed or repositioned. They also include a 3.5-inch drive bay cover. The left side panel has a small window, lots of ventilation, and a 230mm intake fan, but again, no filter. If preferred, this fan can be removed and 4 120mm fans can be installed. There are also additional ventilation slots here on the left side panel. The right side panel doesn't have a window or fan, but it does have some ventilation slots. At the back there are 2 holes for a water cooling system's tubes to pass through. Note that this section can be removed and a standard ATX power supply can be installed instead. Note that if a power supply is installed at the top, this fan would need to be removed. Here's where the motherboard's I/O shield plate gets installed. They include a 140mm exhaust fan. Note that this fan can be removed and replaced with a 120mm fan if preferred. There are 7 ventilated expansion slots. At the bottom is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed. Note the additional ventilation holes, and there are a total of 4 thumb screws, 2 on each side panel. This case fits micro ATX, standard ATX, and extended ATX form factor motherboards. There's a fair amount of room to work on the inside, but unfortunately the motherboard tray is not removable. There are 5 internal 3.5-inch drive bays, and 5 hard drives can be installed in the toolless hard drive rail mounts. Installing hard drives in these toolless removable hard drive rail mounts is really easy. First, remove the rail mount, then mount the hard drive in and slip it back into place. Installing drives in the 5¼ drive bays is also a toolless operation. Just slip the drive into the drive bay and press here. Press again to release it. Installing cards in the expansion slots also doesn't require tools. At the bottom of the case there's a power supply rest, and the back piece can be moved this way to allow for larger power supplies. Also, all of this can be removed and 2 120mm fans can be installed. The motherboard tray has a torrent of cable management holes for cables to pass through. This allows the cables to be hidden behind the motherboard tray, which cuts down on the cable mess inside the case. This not only looks great, but it also improves airflow inside the case. Take note of this very large hole, which allows access to the heatsinks or water blocks mounting hardware. Since many heatsinks and water blocks require mounting hardware to be installed on the back of the motherboard, this hole means that you won't have to remove the motherboard if you wish to remove or replace the heatsink or water block. This is extremely handy and an enormous time saver. They also include an 8-pin motherboard extension cable. There are 4 soft rubber feet which have excellent anti-vibration properties and won't scratch the surface. They also include 4 casters, which can be installed if preferred. Now have a listen to the stock cooling. This case has a long list of very impressive features, but there are a few things that I personally don't like about the case. I don't like the styling. It's a military theme, and I can't say I'm really fussy about that. Also, the case is not aluminum. There's no removable motherboard tray, and there are no dust filters. But other than that, this is a kick-ass product. Until next time, take care.